You're welcome.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another podcast production of Create Yourself, Intimacy, and Innovation, a place where people from all walks of life and various backgrounds come to share their transformative personal and professional stories of restoration, confidence, clarity, and empowerment. They are here to share their helpful tools, resources, and affirming guidance. I'm Joyce Kiles, your global speaker, author, trainer, and coach. And if you're ready to transition, transform, and thrive, this is indeed the podcast for you. I am super excited about today's guest. I have been knowing her for, oh my goodness, close to 2 decades now, I think it is.
Yeah, buddy, you gonna be telling all my secrets now.
Look, I'm going to tell the ones that's going to be relevant for this show. And we have some backstories that, maybe for another time with another title, but for the purposes of this show, because yeah, now as we're talking, I'm thinking about, man, we've had some wild times, have we not,
Yeah,
man?
buddy. Some good times, the times were had.
Yes, very much so. And so that is why I am so excited to have you to be a guest on our show today. So I know that some people may be familiar with you, some others may not. So I'm going to read a little bit about your bio and then we're just going to jump right in. So let me tell you all, introduce to some, present to others about Phillis Lewis, pronoun she, her. She is the founder and CEO of Love Doesn't Hurt, Tennessee's first nonprofit dedicated to crisis intervention and case management for LGBTQ plus victims of crime. With over 15 years of experience in nonprofit leadership, trauma-informed care, and housing services, Phyllis has reached more than 27,000 individuals through education on relationships, grief, trauma, and tenant rights. She is a Memphis native, and she has earned her BA in Criminal Justice and Criminology from the University of Memphis and previously worked at the Shelby County District Attorney's Office and Shelby County government. She is a dedicated advocate and serves on several regional committees, including vice chair of the Tennessee Coalition to End Domestic and Sexual Violence's Inclusivity Committee and board member of the Tennessee Equality Project. She also was honored as the 2024 Women of Achievement Determination Award. Through consulting and coalition work, Phyllis champions inclusive services that empower survivors to reclaim safety and agency. And of all the wonderful things that I just read about her in her bio, I can say personally that she is a dear advocate, activist, friend, supporter. She's my sister. She's my colleague. I love her dearly. I think she knows that, so I'm saying it publicly because for those of you who are just tuning in and learning about me, her, and us for the first time, she's been great to me, my husband, my children. Like we go way back. Her daughter and one of our grandchildren even have the same name. So without further ado, let me again introduce to some and present to others, none other than my friend, my colleague, my sister, Phyllis Lewis. So, Phyllis,
Uh,
welcome to the show.
thank you so much. I just appreciate like your friendship, your mentorship, your just support throughout these years. I tell people all the time, like I don't think that I would be where I am in my career without having like people like you, like in my life that um when I was holding, people's feet to the fire, you were telling me, let me go get a marshmallow. And just supported me and just made sure that I was not jaded by people who try to like dim my light or um
Right.
like say that what I was doing was being like aggressive, because for, women of color, especially with Black women, like when we go into spaces and we see injustices and we say something about those injustices, a lot of times we will get labeled as angry, as, aggressive and in those
Mhm,
spaces. And you
absolutely.
really like held space for me, and that was just so dope. And Jason, my Cluck Cluck brother, from another mother, like that. There's always love whenever I'm around either of you, and so I appreciate you all just welcome me into your lives too.
Oh, well, look, I appreciate that very, very much. Yeah, I think from the moment that we met, and I do believe that was at the DA's office, and we were
Hmm.
both, working in different capacities, but definitely in advocacy and just seeing the injustices that were taking place in our respective roles, and I know that that was part of what encouraged me to want to do something different and do it full time, i.e., my nonprofit, Walking Into a New Life.
Hmm.
And so when you agreed to come on board, as a board member, um, I was personally and professionally appreciative of that because I wanted and needed someone like you with that fire and that determination and that grit and showing up as your true authentic self. And we didn't see a lot of that, especially back when we were doing it. And so even though I have dissolved and taken on a different life in terms of the work that I'm doing with my business, I remain excited that you are still doing the work. And I had no expectation that you wouldn't be doing any of the things that you're doing now. And when I looked at the number and saw 27,000 individuals, and I thought, oh my goodness, like you're doing all the things that I knew that you would do, and you're still doing them. So I think that is a great lead in for me to talk about the create yourself journey, and what made you decide that this was the right path for you and the right time for you.
For me, I think it started like when I was younger. My mom was a survivor of domestic and sexual violence. And during the time that she was experiencing that part of her journey, VAWA, which is the Violence Against Women's Act, did not exist. And so when she was seeking support and when she was seeking refuge, when she was seeking like a beacon of hope to distance herself from the hostile relationship that she was in, she was pretty much given a pamphlet and told how not to provoke this person. And even as a child, and I was just talking to my therapist about this earlier. Like with children, you don't have a lot of autonomy, so you're pretty much just moving wherever, the adults in your life are shifting you to. And I remember just thinking, like, that's it? Shit. Like, I could have told her that. Like, I could have found a pamphlet. Like, you're not, like, that's all,
Right, right,
like,
right.
that's all you got? Like that's not going to stop the violence. That's not going to stop the punches. That's not going to stop the intimidation. That's not going to stop the verbal abuse. And for me, I knew like then, I was like, I want to do something that is going to help to create a safe space for people who are experiencing what my mom experienced, so that they don't have to be afraid anymore, that they can feel safe. And that for me is kind of what started me on the path and then later led me to the DA's office. But then I realized that I was more of a boots to the ground type of girl. And the corporate
Mhm,
atmosphere does not really mesh well or align with who I who I
mhm.
authentically am.
Mhm. Wow. So a couple of things came up for me as you were sharing about your journey, to get to this point. Um, One that you mentioned is that VAWA didn't exist for your mom, and for so many who were going through those types of experiences and didn't have the support. And I think it's really important for people to be clear that VAWA hadn't been around, for years and years and decades and decades and decades. And certainly it has evolved, even from when it originated, that there's been some evolvement of that. But to your point, yeah, just telling somebody what not to do does not prohibit the person who's doing the abusing, to stop. It's always, I think that's one of the things that frustrated me so much and still does, even with me working in a different capacity now, but you're still very much boots on the ground in it, is that there's still so much emphasis placed on the victims.
Hmm.
And, this is what you need to do to not have this happen rather than holding, those who are doing the abusing accountable and holding the systems accountable.
Absolutely. I wish I had a fan. I would clack it right now because that and it's like you are sitting here putting so much ownership on these survivors that are experiencing the abuse. You are putting so much ownership on the individuals that are being oppressed that you are like just overlooking they not hitting themselves.
Absolutely.
They're
Abs-
not abusing themselves, and
Exactly.
you're not having the conversations with the individual that you actually need to have those conversations with. And that for me is that you don't want to take accountability as to how you fed into why they think it's okay.
Absolutely. Now I need a fan. Okay. And so with that, one of the other things that you mentioned was, talking to a therapist and that you recently talked with a therapist. So I want to lift up the fact that when we have either gone through these experiences ourselves as individuals, or we have witnessed them from people that we know, love, care about, or maybe just, saw it from someone that we didn't know, but we knew that it was wrong, and the impact that it has on us, especially when we're younger, and those things that we carry with us, if you would just share a bit about the importance of therapy and how it shows up in the work that you're doing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So for me, I think one, I think every person should go through therapy before they graduate high school because there's just so
Mhm,
much to deconstruct.
mhm.
And I feel like if you aren't able to deconstruct it as a child, then you spend your adulthood either living blindly or like just feeling out of place and you don't know why that's going on for you in certain spaces. You don't understand like your triggers may, and if you have had experiences that you've dealt with a lot of trauma, you don't understand your trauma responses to things, and that can show up for you in your personal relationships, may that be platonic or romantic. It can show up in how you show up at work. And so I think it's very important to make sure that you are healing, yourself. It's kind of like when you get on an airplane and they tell you before you even try to help someone else, make sure you put your mask on first. Like
Right.
making sure that you are mentally good is putting your mask on first.
Yeah, absolutely. I gave a training here a couple of months back, and that was actually one of the examples that I gave, that you have to make sure that you're good, so that you can fully show up and be able to help and support the next person. So I love that you shared that, and that you are an advocate for therapy, and the idea of, ensuring that children receive counseling, receive therapy before they graduate. I think that's actually a great idea. So I'm going to definitely start advocating for it in that space as I'm doing my talking too. So thank you for sharing that point.
Oh, you're
Um,
welcome anytime.
I would like for you, because I know about Love Doesn't Hurt and the services that you provide. But would you spend a few minutes talking with our listening audience about the types of services that Love Doesn't Hurt provide?
Sure. So Love Doesn't Hurt. We are a nonprofit that is located in Memphis, Tennessee, serving the Shelby County area. We help to provide crisis intervention and support to victims of crime in the LGBTQ plus community. But we also do different educational sessions too, as well, around self-care, around unpacking trauma and healing. We have a job readiness series that we go over cover letter, resume writing, interviewing. We also talk about how just grief impacts like communities. We also do partnerships with organizations like the Tennessee Equality Project to go over like voting 101 and just empowering people to advocate for themselves. And we also do professional development for organizations and just coming in to talk to them about just best practices in creating an environment that has cultural humility in mind, because everyone comes from different backgrounds and experiences, and how to create a safe space where people don't dread coming to work because they don't feel like they're seen in those places. Or if they are providers, like making sure that they're creating an environment that people that are coming to get services from them feel welcomed and seen and affirmed.
And this is why I said at the very beginning, I read, a bit of your bio and shared like the just the very surface of what you do. And that's why I wanted you to share a bit more about it in your voice, because I know that you all do a lot. And it's all needed, it's all necessary, it's all informative, and you've been doing it for a long time. The
Yeah,
fact that, go ahead, go ahead.
yeah. Next year will make 15 years for us.
Man, I can't, you know what? It just seems like I remember when it was 10.
Yeah.
Um, man, well, congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, the work that you're doing is necessary and impactful. And the demographic that you are doing the work in and for is especially important and meaningful. So I won't talk about what I find to be the gratifying parts about that. I'm going to ask you. So, if you would share with our listening audience, what have you found to be the most gratifying parts about the work that you're doing now in the community in this space?
I would definitely say for me is seeing the participants and survivors that I work with, seeing them blossom.
Mm,
um Seeing how when they first come and we have interactions with them, and because it's already hard enough for people to come to say that I need help, like
right,
this is something I can't do by myself, right? And
right,
so you, as a service provider, want to make sure you're creating a space where there isn't that power dynamic, because they're already coming from a situation where there is that power dynamic with the abusers. And so we try to create like action plans together with our survivors, just to see, let us help you get to where you want to be, because we don't know your life. You are the expert in you. We are just here as a support system to help you build a safety net for yourself, so that way you can regain whatever it is that you're trying to regain. If it's the stability, we want to try to help you do that. If it's empowerment, we want to help you do that. If you're trying to connect with others, we want to help you do that. And so to see them like just grow in that, and to see them blossom and get to the point where like they checking in on you, versus you checking in on them,
right, right,
like
right. Yes,
like
yes.
that's how you know like that you've done what you needed to do with them. When they haven't heard from you in a minute, they checking in on you to be like, "How you doing, Miss Phyllis?" That's how you know like you're doing like good work, and to just see them also now that they are in a better place, they want to pour into others, and
Yeah,
show them that like you can do this. Your journey may look different than mine, but you just gotta keep the faith. You gotta have, if you don't have faith in anything else, have faith in you. That you
right.
got it. And every day it's not going to be rainbows and butterflies. Um
Mm, mm, mm.
and healing is not linear, and it's hard, and there's some days that you are gonna have to forgive yourself, you know
Mm.
and what you allowed to happen, or what happened to you, and the experiences that you had when you were in those dynamics, and just to hear the growth, and to hear the awareness and the emotional intelligence that just comes when you see that they are far removed from those situations. That is what warms my heart, and that is what keeps me in this work. No matter, because with any job that you have, everything ain't rainbows and butterflies. You're gonna have good days and bad days, but when
Right.
I have those moments, they so far pass any of the bad days that I've had doing this work.
That is a beautiful, beautiful perspective to have. And it's truly, I know because I do know you personally, I know that even when things have gotten tough and there's been some disheartening things to happen, with systems, with individuals, it is, it far, I think the best way for me to say it is that it doesn't matter nearly as much when you think about all the people that you have been able to touch and help and support and see them grow. And like you said, they're checking on you now, so they have fully started to embrace who they are. And I love the fact that you host different programs that truly embodies what it means to be powerful, to love self, to find those pieces that were broken and be able to, find some resiliency in some spaces and then find some restoration in others. Uh,
Absolutely.
and that was one of the things that I loved about some of the things that we have done together, particularly our Sing for Your Life event.
Yes.
So uh, I want to lift that up because it's going to bring me into what I want to ask you about in terms of events that you may have coming up. But one of the things that Phyllis and I partnered together on, by way of our organizations and then just, being, she was a board member and this was something that she had suggested because I love lip syncing. I can't do karaoke because I can't sing, but I can lip sync any song, and I always enjoyed that. And I love to dance and movement and all the things. And so we would do these Sync for Your Life events. And so it allowed us to be able to raise funds for my nonprofit, but also to bring awareness about domestic abuse and its intersections and how it impacts, not just the two individuals or two or three individuals that may be involved, but how does it impact families and communities and and it takes resources to be able to help people with that transitional process. So having said that, number one, it was a great time. Those were among the great times that we had by all. Uh,
Yes. The good
but
old
no,
chicken soup. Yes.
yeah, yes, the chicken suit and the wigs and the makeup and ooh, and just all the fun things. So having said that, the other thing that I enjoy that I'm hoping to be able to do more of here in Georgia, and that's the Pamper and Support Day. So, I love that you fully embraced just running with the idea of advocates receiving the pour into your cup and that this work is hard. And so,
Yes.
even though the work that you're doing brings you a lot of joy and gratification, it's still difficult. So, you know, pouring into your cup is very necessary. So that said, do you have any events or anything that's coming up now that either it's fun, like the Sing for Your Life or pouring your cup, or maybe it's more educational, or just what do you have going on? Because I know you got something going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have multiple things going on this month. So on August 30th, we actually have two different events. Right now, we're in the process of recruiting volunteers for our event. We're partnering with what formerly was the Liberty Bowl Stadium, but now I think it's like Simmons and something Bank Stadium here in Memphis for volunteers to um, help out during the University of Memphis game.
Okay.
And as a result, their volunteer hours will then get money donated to Love Doesn't Hurt.
Oh,
So that way
awesome.
we can provide services to the clients that we're working with and continue to do the work in the community. And then we're also partnering with one of your old community partners at the Whitehaven Library. We're
Oh, great.
doing our work event, and work is WERK. And we're doing a job and resource fair there, which will be on the 30th. And right now, we're also recruiting vendors who want to come for that either are a service provider or your place's business is hiring. And then we also for next month, as you spoke about the pour into your cup, we're going to be doing another one partnering with Gould's Academy to do that too as well. And then we have a second football game that we'll be doing with the University of Memphis, and that will be on September the 20th.
Wow, wow, wow. I am so excited. That is great. And the partnerships and relationships that you are continuing to build really speaks to who you are as a person, who your organization is, as Love Doesn't Hurt, and that there are organizations in the community that are getting on board or staying on board. And that I think excites me the most. The ones that are seeing you all do the work and saying, yeah, there's a need for this. How can I support? And then the ones who came on and haven't left,
Right.
that says that what you're doing is working. It's working. So kudos to you all. Phyllis,
Thank you.
our time is starting to wind down. You shared some really good points, words of encouragement, definitely shared some tools and resources already with what you all are doing. But as we start to wrap up our time together, I would like to ask you if there are any specific main points or encouraging words that you would want our audience to take away from our Create Yourself conversation today.
Yeah, I guess especially just in the times that we are just in right now, is that sometimes you're not doing something because you're trying to do it with other people. Sometimes you're doing something because it's the right thing to do. And
Mhm.
sometimes doing the right thing, it doesn't always put you in a position of being comfortable. And so if you're going to be doing the right thing, you have to understand that with that comes discomfort, but it is worth it because of the impact it will have on others. It's a ripple effect.
That is beautifully stated. Um, I concur. I encourage all of you who are listening to please make certain that you connect with Phyllis, connect with Love Doesn't Hurt. Um, please adhere to the words that she shared. They are looking for volunteers, and I tell you this that even if you're not available to volunteer at the specific times that she just quoted in this particular broadcast, connect and put yourself on the volunteer list because the work that they're doing is so impactful, it's so needed, it's so necessary, and it's a lot of fun. One thing I will say of Phyllis is that you're not She is not going to just give you some here, take this form and go sit in the corner kind of. No, you have fun. You have a good time. It is interactive. It is engaging. Always, always. I don't care what it is that we're doing. So just know that you are in for a good time and that the service hours, specifically with the one at U of M, that's donation opportunities to give. So, having said that, my last question to you, Phyllis, will be how can people get in touch with you?
Yes. So we have our website, which is lovedoesn'thurt901.com. We also are on Instagram as well as Facebook too, as well. And then for anyone that may be trying to connect to our services, if you go through our website, you can actually complete our intake paperwork from our website, and then it will then send a signal to us that you have started working on the paperwork, and then we can follow up with you.
All right. So, as everyone knows, that has been following me for a while, you know that I always share our guests' contact information. So it's always right under the bio and their photo on our podcast platform. So you'll be able to read it. But I always like for individuals to share when they're on the podcast so they can hear it in our guest's voice along with any other information that they want to add. So at this time, we have come to the end of our journey for part one podcast, but I am already putting you on the spot, Phyllis, to let you know that I do plan on us having a part two.
Well, I am ready. Anytime you ready, I'm ready.
All right. So, for those who may not be aware, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And I am going to be very intentional about ensuring that all of the podcast interviews that you hear during the month of October will be related to domestic violence awareness in some way. So you're going to hear things, from survivors themselves. You will hear stories of what it means to be resilient and restored. You will hear about tools, resources, organizations that are, doing the work in different parts of the country. So no matter where you are, just know that you are loved, you are supported. There are organizations like Phyllis's in other parts of the world, but I am so glad to know that Phyllis is doing such great community work in the state of Tennessee and beyond, because her voice has carried beyond Tennessee. She just happens to be anchored and housed in Memphis, but her voice has definitely had national reach and continues that space. So, Phyllis, thank you so much for being not only my guest for today's show, but personally for being my friend, my shiro, my advocate, my activist for us, personally as well as professionally, that um, we all need, appreciate, respect you in the work that you do. So keep going forward. And yeah, we here. I got marshmallows ready.
Yes. And like I said before, like I appreciate you. Like um you crawl so I can walk. So I can run.
Oh,
And
hmm.
so like I said, and I will continue, like without individuals and advocates and survivors like you, there would not be spaces created for people like me. And so I am grateful to the work that you have done, continue to do, how you continue to amplify the voices to make sure that people see the many facets of what domestic violence looks like. And it's not a monolith. It's not what you see like on TV and things like that. Like these
Mm,
are
mm,
people's like lives and experiences, and I just want to, uplift like you and just what you have done for not only me but for the community and for others as well. And so I appreciate you.
wow, thank you. Yeah, you try and get me to cry. No one can see me on this. So,
No, I'm not trying to get you to cry.
so that
I
so now I'm gonna wrap this on up is what I'm gonna do.
I just want to give you your flowers while you are still here to smell them.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I received them. I received them. So thank you. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in for another broadcast production. And as I say to all of you each and every week, until next time, go forward and create the life that you desire and deserve. And remember that you can do so at any age. Let's continue to transition, transform, and thrive together.